But we've got a speaker who's been coming here for years and has agreed to basically come up on stage at, 2 minutes notice. I've had 2 minutes preparation, but we promise you a good talk nevertheless. Super cool guy, super cool startup. Please welcome to the stage Pranav Kosuri from Flick. Flick is this little button. Your company is called Shortcut Labs.
That is correct.
First of all, no one's read about you. You're not on the agenda. Give us your pitch. Tell us.
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm a little bit out of breath because I ran here and I just came. So this is Flick. It's a wireless shortcut button that can trigger your favorite functions on your smartphone. So you don't need to pick up the phone, unlock the screen, fiddle around and do those kind of things. So you can do pretty much anything. Everything from like ordering an Uber with the push of a button to we've done partnership with like Domino's, the hangover button. When you press it, you will order a favorite pizza, like all those kind of things. That's pretty much what we do.
And Pranav, the reason you're such good friends with Startup Day is because you've basically been coming here since you were 16 years old, is that right?
That is correct.
How old are you now, if you don't mind us asking?
28, I think.
Okay, from right back when it started, really. So tell us, roughly, how did you get from there to here?
So in the beginning, I was standing in the back. My father forced me to come here. He bought me a ticket, and he said, you have to go here, and I did. I stood in the back. I knew no one. I felt really like an outsider. I was 16 years old. It was really inspiring, though, because I've always strived to be an entrepreneur, but I've always heard these stories about, these celebrities that are, fantastic, like Elon Musk and things like that. Being here at Startup Day, you actually hear behind the scenes and how much struggle you actually go through, and you understood that mere mortals can actually achieve to build something that they want to build. Yeah, that was my beginning, and ever since then I've been coming every year. I've been bringing more and more friends. I think I have half of my team here today, and I push everyone. And the kid on the posters on Startup Day, it was actually my father that forced him to come here, I think 3 years ago as well. And that was just very random. But yeah, it's a fantastic event. I love it. I would love to support. That's why I do this.
And that's why he's here at 2 minutes notice. But tell us about Flick then. How have you managed to get this idea off the ground, get funding, get it developed? Because that's what a lot of people here are trying to do with their own ideas.
Sure. So it was actually here at Startup Day that I met one of my co-founders, Joachim. He had this idea of creating a button to quit snoozing, this Swedish tobacco, because he wanted to quit using snooze, and he created an app with a big green button in the middle of the screen, and then every time he took a snooze, he was supposed to press this button, but it became too repetitive and too strugglesome to do it, so he actually said, why don't I extract this to a physical product? And he pitched this to me at Startup Day, and I thought it was probably the most stupid idea I've ever heard.
What made you stick with it then?
Well, Joachim is a very persistent guy, and I loved his he comes from a completely different world. I have a background in molecular biology. He has a technology background, and he just talked about technology so passionately, and Internet of Things, that would be the next thing, and this is really, really cool. And I think he probably called me 100 times, and then I took a meeting, and then ever since then we have been sticking together.
So some really interesting lessons there. We've often heard it's all about the idea, but it's also been about the person and how they've engaged with you, and also about their persistence.
Yeah.
And I would share that tip as a journalist as well. I get a lot of people calling me trying to get PR for their startup. Hey, will you write about my startup? Hey, can I be on your podcast? And people are really busy, but it is the ones that ring 20, 30, 40 times that eventually you do pick up the phone. And a lot of people just think, oh, they didn't reply to my email, they're not interested. So I think that's a really good insight.
Yeah, I think it's the best tip to anyone. Be persistent and be really annoying sometimes. Don't be scared to be annoying. I think just telling our story, it wasn't just gold and things after just having this idea. We actually pitched probably like 50 VCs before we got funding on this product. Everyone said, just as me, and the first time I heard this, like, this is a really crappy idea, and like, you guys have no experience. Like, luckily got accepted to a hardware incubator in San Francisco, and I really like encourage everyone to try to just be in San Francisco for a while, because it really opens your eyes. And over there, like, they're so persistent, and they are so like, they don't take no for an answer. They just go and go and go, and that's what we have been doing a lot. I think like our whole story is that, I mean, we're 3 founders. We found these fantastic developers that joined really early. Like, none of us had paid for a year. And we got no from every VC, and then we were like, fuck it, let's do a crowdfunding campaign. And we did a crowdfunding campaign. We raised roughly $1 million, and that took us like off the ground. And now we have a fantastic team of 25 talented engineers and salespeople and everything, and we're selling all across the world.
So how many have you sold, and what is your vision for how many you want to keep selling?
I can't say the exact number, but we have sold to 110 countries. The buttons have been pressed over 20 million times, so there's quite a significant number of people using this. We have Daniel here is working with retailer. I just stole from 3, who has been working with retail a lot. Like, now we're in roughly 1,000 retail stores across the world, everything from Best Buy to MediaMarkt to Design Toriet. So we have really gone through the whole gruesome journey of being a startup.
We've heard a bit today about working together as a team. What is it that you think has held your team together and makes you guys work well as a group? Because as you say, they're all here today. It sounds like one happy family. Sounds like.
Yeah, they're happy every day. I don't know. No, I think like we are very keen on getting people, like, every time we recruit someone, it's really important that everyone in the team meets the new person and gets to interact with them for a while. Because, like, getting along, that's the main thing, because it's going to be a long, hard night. So it's going to be weekends, and it's going to be, crap after crap after crap, and you have to stick together. So I think we have found a bunch of people that are like really passionate of actually building something. It's always fun, and we have this. I encourage everyone that has a Slack channel to open an announcement channel, so every teammate can just post like their successes, and that's really fun. Like, when it's going pretty badly, you can just like, it will pick you up.
Brilliant. Amazing. This guy had 2 minutes notice before coming up on stage. So thank you, Pranav Kosuri. I want to open up the questions to the floor. Does anyone have any questions? And do we have a mic? Yes, we've got another person getting some exercise, and a question from here at the front.
So I actually got a flick as a birthday present from another person. And I realized like there are a lot of small use cases, but I'm really curious, what's the most common one? Like, what's the main use of a flick?
That's a great question, and the most commonly used use cases are lights to controlling your smart home, like your smart light bulbs, and then like your Sonos speaker, having a button in the shower so you can change the Spotify song, like if it comes a crappy one. Those are the most commonly used. But those are also like repetitive tasks, and I think that's where Flick is really strong. But then it's like, the fun thing about the product is that everyone you pitch it to has their favorite use case. So for example, when I pitched this to my mom, I probably went through like 50 or 60 use cases before I said, like, you can have this button by the door. When you press it, it will find your phone. And then she was like, wow, this is amazing. I would buy 10 of them. So like, it's really all about that, like trying to find your favorite use case. It's like, what is your favorite app on your smartphone? Like, it's a hard question to answer. But we found this like fantastic use cases, everything from having these, we saw that all of a sudden a lot of people in like Europe's largest, what do you call it? Like the people who chop wood.
Wood choppers? Wood cutters?
Or like are in the forest and planting trees and things like that. They were starting to discuss about like Flick. Like, this is a fantastic tool. Like, now I can count how many times I've planted a tree. And we would have never thought about that.
Can we put it back and ask you what you've been using it for?
Hello. Hey. I actually gave it away because I thought one of my friends had a birthday right after, and I hadn't bought a birthday present for him, so I just.
Great honesty. Great honesty.
We have a new one here for you. Great.
One more question. Is anyone else? Can anyone top that? Yes, here.
So a lot of companies figure out something that they become better at than every other company. So besides making a smart button, what is it that Flick is better at than any other company in the world?
Great question.
Yeah, really good question. Other than that, I mean, I think like it's everything. I think what we are really good at Flick is dreaming large and big. Like we always strive to get the biggest partnerships. Like that's why we have Uber. That's why we have Domino's Pizza. That's why we have Bosch and like all these different companies. And then like we always strive to dream big. That probably is what makes us stick out from the crowd here in Sweden. And then I mean like we have these niche talents like Emil, his title is lead wizard in our company. He's the world's fastest C+ coder. Like people are, they have these fantastic niches and they do things. We're launching a new crowdfunding campaign in October. I shouldn't probably announce that yet, but anyway, now you know. And this was done during Christmas because our developers really wanted to have this product on the market, and they were not, like we said, like you shouldn't do this, but they did it over Christmas when we didn't notice it. So like, I think that's like just like in-house innovation, like that's what we're best at.
Super. Okay, let's give it up for Pranav Kosuri. Hope I've said that right. Great to have you here back again at Startup Day. Thank you. Well done.
Thank you.